Most gods are born gods. But Osiris was a murdered king who became the god of the dead. He was killed by his own brother, cut into 14 pieces and brought back just long enough to father the son who would avenge him. Osiris was the first great king of Egypt. He taught his people to farm, he gave them laws, he lifted them out of savagery. He was beloved by everyone. And that was the problem. Because Osiris had a brother, Set, the god of the desert, of storms and of chaos. And Set wanted the throne of Egypt for himself. His jealousy hardened into a plan. Set gathered 72 conspirators. And then he did something strange and chillingly precise. In secret, he took the exact measurements of his own brother's body. Then he had his craftsmen build a chest, a beautiful, ornate, golden chest made to fit one single man's body perfectly. And he threw a magnificent feast and invited Osiris to it. At the height of the party, Set brought out the gorgeous chest, and laughing, he offered it as a gift to whichever guest could lie down and fit inside it. One by one they tried. None of them fit, and then Osiris lay down inside. And of course, it fit him perfectly. In an instant, Set and his 72 men slammed the lid shut, nailed it down, sealed every crack with molten lead, and carried it to the river. They threw the sealed chest, with the living king trapped inside, into the Nile, and the current carried it away. Osiris, the good king of Egypt, was gone. The chest floated all the way out to sea and washed ashore in a foreign land. There, a young tree sprang up around it and grew so fast and so tall that the coffin was swallowed inside its trunk. The tree was so magnificent that the local king cut it down and made it a pillar of his palace, never knowing a dead god was sealed inside. But Osiris had a wife, Isis, and she was a goddess of deep and powerful magic. Half mad with grief, she set out to find him, and she searched the entire world. Her search led her at last to that foreign palace and to the pillar. She freed the chest from the heart of the tree and opened it and wept over the body of her husband. Then she hid the coffin in the marshes and went to gather what she needed to bring him back. But while she was gone, Set was out hunting in those very marshes by the light of the moon. And he found the chest, and inside it, he found the body of his brother. And this time, Set made certain there would be no coming back. He cut his brother's body into 14 pieces, and he scattered them far and wide, the length and breadth of all Egypt, so that they could never be gathered again. When Isis returned and saw what had been done, she did not break. She began again, a second search. This time, not for a coffin, but for 14 scattered pieces of the man she loved. She traveled the whole length of the Nile, and one by one she found them, 13 of the 14. The last piece had fallen into the river and been swallowed by a fish, and it was lost forever. So Isis, with her sister Nephthys and the jackal-headed god Anubis, did something that had never been done before in the history of the world. They gathered the pieces and they bound the broken body back together and wrapped it carefully in linen. They made the very first mummy. Then Isis fashioned a replacement for the one piece that was missing, and she worked a magic more powerful than death itself. She took the form of a bird and she hovered over the body of her husband, and she breathed life back into him. Just for a moment. Long enough for one last act of love. Long enough to conceive a son. That son was Horus, the falcon-headed god. And from the very moment he was conceived, he had one purpose: to grow up and to take back the throne that his uncle had stolen. But Osiris could not stay among the living. His body had been broken and remade. He belonged now to another world. And so he descended, and he became the king of a different kingdom entirely, the kingdom of the dead. Osiris became the green-skinned lord of the underworld, the judge who would weigh the heart of every soul that had ever died, the first being ever to die, and the god who promised that death was not the end of the story. because the Egyptians looked at what had happened to him, and they saw a promise in it. If the good king could be murdered and torn into pieces and still be made whole again, then so could they. That is why they mummified their dead, wrapping them in linen, exactly as Isis had wrapped Osiris. Every mummy, in every tomb, in all of Egypt, was an attempt to become him, to be made whole, and to live again. And his son Horus did grow up, hidden by his mother in the marshes, raised in secret until he was strong enough to challenge Set for the throne. Their war would last 80 years, but that is another story. What stays with people, all these thousands of years later, is the devotion. Isis searched the world twice, once for his body and once for his scattered pieces. And both times, against everything, she found him. The first king of Egypt was murdered by his own brother, sealed inside a box built to fit him and cut into 14 pieces. And still, somehow, he was not beyond saving. In life, Osiris gave Egypt its civilization, and in death, he gave it something even greater. The belief that the grave was a door and not a wall. A murdered king, a grieving wife who would not stop searching, a son born to avenge him, and a promise 4,000 years old that nothing truly loved is ever truly lost. That is the story the Egyptians built an entire civilization around, not a fear of death, a way through it. I am Pantheon X. Until next time.